There was an honest shoemaker who was very poor. He worked as hard as he could, and still he could not earn enough to keep himself and his wife. At last, there came a day when he had nothing left but one piece of leather, big enough to make one pair of shoes. He cut out the shoes, ready to stitch, and left them on the bench. Then he said his prayers and went to bed, trusting that he could finish the shoes on the next day and sell them. Bright and early in the next morning, he rose and went to his work bench. Work. There lay a pair of shoes, beautifully made, and the leather was gone. There was no sign of anyone having been there. The shoemaker and his wife did not know to make of it. But the customer who came was so pleased with the beautiful shoes, that he bought them and paid so much that the shoemaker was able to buy leather enough for 2 pairs. And then, happily, he cut them out. And then, as it was late, he left the pieces on the bench, ready to sew in the morning. But when morning came, 2 pairs of shoes lay on the bench, most beautifully made, and no sign of anyone who had been there. The shoemaker and his wife were quite at a loss. That day, a customer came and bought both pairs and paid so much for them. The shoemaker bought leather for 4 pairs with the money. Once more, he cut out the shoes and left on the bench. And in the morning, all 4 pairs were made. Amazing, right? It went on like this until the shoemaker and his wife were prosperous people, but they could not be satisfied to have so much done for them and not know to whom they should be grateful. So one night, after the shoemaker had left the pieces of leather on the bench, he and his wife hid themselves behind a curtain. Yeah, behind a curtain. And just as the clock struck 12, the door opened softly, and 2 tiny elves came dancing into the room, hopped onto the bench, and began to put the pieces together. They were quite naked, but they had been little scissors and a hammer and thread. Tap, tap went the little hammer. Stitch, stitch went the thread. And the little elves were hard at work. No one ever worked so fast as they. In almost no time, all the shoes were stitched and finished. Then the tiny elves took hold of each other's hand and danced around the shoes on the bench, till the shoemaker and his wife had hard work not to laugh aloud. But as the clock struck 2, the little creatures whisked away out of the window and left the room all as it was before. The shoemaker and his wife looked at each other and said, "How can we thank the little elves who have made us happy and prosperous?" "I should like to make them some pretty clothes," said the wife. "They are quite naked." "I will make the shoes if you will make the coats," said her husband. That very day, they set about it. The wife cut out 2 tiny coats of green, 2 weeny waistcoats of yellow, 2 little pairs of trousers of white, 2 bits of caps, bright red, for everyone knows the elves loves bright colors. Yeah, they love bright colors. And her husband made 2 little pairs of shoes with long pointed toes. They made the wee clothes and dainty as could be, with nice little stitches and pretty buttons, and by Christmas time, they were finished on Christmas. On Christmas Eve, the shoemaker cleaned his bench, and on it, instead of leather, he laid the two set of gray little fairy clothes. Then he and his wife hid away before to watch. Promptly, at midnight, the little naked elves came in. They hopped upon the bench, but when they saw the little clothes there, they laughed and danced for joy. Each one coughed up with this little coat and things and began to put them on. Then they looked at each other and made all kinds of funny motions in their delight. At last, they began to dance, and when the clock struck 2, they danced quite away, out of the window. They never came back anymore, but from that day, they gave the shoemaker and his wife good luck so that they never needed any more help. The end. Great story, isn't it? Thank you.